Okay, let us start. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, devotional service. Before that, let us pay obeisance to Radha Krishna, Krishna Govinda. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Dadate Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sukta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrabhyascha Kripa Sindhavevacha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschateshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare. So let us start. So let's say now what is the thing? We saw in chapter 11 the Vishwarupa. Okay, that was what it said. After saying that, you saw how Arjuna paid obeisance and also asked forgiveness because he thought he was too informal, casual with the Lord. And now he is seeing him as a supreme personality of Godhead. And then he got bewildered and he was afraid for seeing the Vishwarupa, finally seeing the Kalarupa. So finally I asked him to come back to his 400 form, and then so Krishna was able to show him the future also. He could see the future where all the soldiers were all getting killed. Even Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, Karna, Duryodhana, everyone, all this other side as well as each side, every warriors are all meeting their end. So finally I asked him, who is he? He says, everything works under my control as my plan. So after showing his universal form, and then he showed his 400 form Narayana, and then his 200. So Krishna then, Sanjay was so pleased and he described the thing to Dhritarashtra. Okay. And then follows me. So finally, then now Arjuna has a question. So he saw all the forms, but he is very attached to the personal form because he has been with him there. So now, finally, in the chapter 12, Krishna wants to clarify his position because he wants to know whether I should meditate. I like the 200 form, but you have shown this universal form. Should I meditate on that or the 200? Okay. After hearing and seeing Lord's inestimable impersonal opulences, Arjuna wants to hear about devotional service. Who works as a opposed to a Gnani who renounces work. Okay, whether to personal form or which is superior, is the universal form or the unmanifested Brahman. So this is this clarification. So this chapter, actually, finally, Krishna in this chapter gives us talks about bhakti over impersonalism, then progressive stages of bhakti from the highest level to the lowest level. So, which is the perfection, and then how, and here we can see the Krishna's mercy, how he understands that all the living entities can't come to the same level of consciousness, and they will be at different levels. So he is talking about the different stages where people will gradually reach the perfection level. Okay. So he gives so that at least we should know what is the perfection level, right? Then only we can aspire for that. Then finally he concludes with the qualities that dear one to Krishna. That is the qualities of his devotees. Okay. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yuktaye bhakta swam paryupasate ye chapi aksharam avyaktam tesam ke yoga vittamaha. Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect? Those who are properly engaged in your devotional service or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested, that is the universal form, which is the most thing, the impersonal or the personal, because he likes this, he wants this, and he is more related to this, so he wants to clarify his position because he has seen the universal form, right? And he wants to know what is that. So let us see the purport is very nice. So now Krishna has now explained about personal, impersonal, universal, and described all kinds of devotees and yogis. So generally, transcendentalists can be two classes, impersonalist and the personalist. The personalist devotees engage himself with all energy in the service of the Lord. Whereas the impersonalist will not do directly the service, but they will meditate on the impersonal. They are the jnanis. So we find in this chapter different process of realization. Bhakti Yoga is the highest. If one at all desires to have the association of Supreme Person of Godhead, then he must take to devotional service. So here where is the thing, Prabhupada writes that. Okay. Those who worship Supreme Lord directly by devotional service are called personalists. Who engage themselves in meditation, like the yogis, no, on the impersonal Brahman, are called impersonalists. They know there's a Lord, they accept, okay, but they don't like to worship, do service to the personal. They like to meditate on the impersonal. So that is the Brahmavadis. Okay, Arjuna is here questioning which position is better. Whereas Mayavadis are different. They think everything is Maya, everything is Nitya, and we all will merge. Everybody is God. You are God, we are God. And then after we leave the body, we merge with the Lord, Brahma, the Brahma Jyoti. So they don't believe in the God. They believe everybody is God and everything is Maya. Okay. But Brahmavadis are, they know there's a Lord, but they are attracted to the universal form. That is the unmanifested form. They like that to meditate on that thing rather than doing service to the person. So that is what here Krishna is saying. There are different ways to realize the truth, but indicates in this chapter that devotional service is the highest. Okay. So what did we learn in the second chapter? That we are not the body, we are the spiritual spark, right? And seventh chapter, he spoke of living entity as part and parcel of Supreme. Okay. And he said that we should transfer our attention fully to the whole. Again in 8th chapter, he said that anyone who thinks of quitting things of Krishna, at quitting the time of quitting his body, is at once transferred to his abode. And we cannot remember him all the time. I mean, at the time of the honor, we don't know when that comes. So it's better to remember him throughout our life. Only by abhyasa, yogena, abhyasa balena, we can think at the time of quitting. But I think 6th chapter, he said, among all the yogis who is perfect, one is always thinking of Krishna. So in every chapter, you think what has been coming, conclusion is one should attach to the personal form of Krishna. That is the highest thing. Okay. It is being said, but here what is Krishna is bringing out that point to the forefront so that we will be not having any doubts in our mind, whether to worship the personal form or anything. Because he wants to, it is being told, but here in this verse, by bringing it in words, Arjuna wants to clarify. But there are people, even after all that, they don't like to attach to the personal form. They are so firmly detached that even the preparation of commentaries, they want to distract people from Krishna and transfer all devotion to the impersonal Jyoti. They prefer to that because it's beyond the reach of thing and it's not manifest. So even after all this, there are people who are still attracted to that. So that's what here Prabhupada writes. Okay. So, and now let us see what Krishna says. Arjuna's question, which is more perfect, whether engaging in devotional service or worship was a thing. So every chapter is telling us to attach to the personal forms. Chapter 2, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And only who have us and how the association, I think the Supreme Personality is through devotional service. Okay. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Aveshya Manoyama Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopatas Teme Yuktatama Mata. Blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me, with great and transcendental faith is considered by me to be most perfect. So immediately Krishna clarifies. So he doesn't tell when the right answer he will give in the beginning itself. That is the right one. And then he will tell why the other option is not right. First of all, he'll give us the right option. Okay. Even in all our chapters we have seen, whenever there's a doubt, immediately Krishna gives the answer straight away. He doesn't go round and round. Okay. So he is very much clear in this. He says, who fixed his mind on his personal form, engages in worshipping me with great and transcendent faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. This is the reason why Prabhupada, actually, in all the time, in his 10 years in spreading the Krishna consciousness, he did have temples all over the place so that people, as devotees, can focus on the deities because there will be personal, right? So that they can focus on that and they can engage in worshipping through worshipping deity, they can worship the Lord. So that they faith and they can be in the Krishna consciousness. So this is what is said to be the most perfect. Okay. So those why most perfect and how? Because you have fixed your mind, think, worship with great faith, always engaged in worshipping me. So action in Krishna consciousness is not material because you do everything for the Lord. When you do engage your devotional service for the Lord, it is not material and thing. And what does he do? He'll always be chanting. Then he'll be hearing Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he tries to cook for him, prasadam, washes the temple. I think it doesn't waste a moment. He's all the time engaged in the service of the Lord. Okay. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable, impersonal conception of the absolute truth. And how do they do that? Worship that by controlling the various senses. That means they have to do that Ashtanga Yoga, okay? And be equally disposed to everyone. Such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve. So it's not that they cannot achieve. They do that, but they what do by practicing yoga, they will try to stop the mind from fix their mind on the universe. And it's quite difficult. The goal of life is not to become unconscious, but to become super conscious. Okay. So here, what is Krishna saying? That people who are impersonalists, who are Brahmavadis, they try to worship like this. And they take this path, and they don't do service, but they console and they go beyond the perception of the senses. They try to control their mind. Okay. So, and they will also reach eventually and surrender. So what is the characteristics of this conception? They have to, that's a form that's unmanifested. It's beyond sense perception. It's not able to see. You're not seeing the personal. Okay. And it is there everywhere, all pervading. And it is inconceivable, unchanging, and it's fixed and immovable. Okay. So how do you do the worship? By controlling your various senses, so that you can fix your mind on that impersonal form. And by being equally disposed to everyone, only then you'll become. At least if you are having enmity or envious of others, then you cannot be calm and satisfied and sit in one place, isn't it? So you have to be equally disposed to everyone, and by engaging welfare for all. So, but this kind of penance is very difficult for any common man. Okay, there's a lot of penance required, and plus you have to read a lot of scripture. I mean, you have to read a lot of scriptures, Upanishads, and all to come to this understanding about the form. And then only you will accept it, and then you'll do it. So it's a very tedious process. Okay, so that's why Krishna says, Kleshu adhikarastesham avekta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gati dukkham devadvir avapte. For those whose minds are attached to the manifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. Why? Because you are trying to control the mind. And to make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied, because we are conditioned soul, and for us to control and do this penance is difficult. So, klesha adhikara steshas. That is why he said this path is difficult. And so there are both of them will go to the same goal, but the second one, which the impersonal form, is difficult to do that type of penance. Okay. Who are in fully Krishna conscious, they will engage in devotional service of the Lord. The Jnani Yogas, those the follow inconceivable and manifested thing. Okay. So what is the difference between the personalist way of devotional service, impersonalist? These impersonalists, they meditate on the formless, whereas these people form on the form of deity. And it is easy because it's there in front of you and is able to meditate, right? And this is something which is beyond the senses, so that you have to restrict the senses. Here, you are not restricting the senses, you are engaging in actual service. So you're engaging in chanting, you're engaging your tongue in chanting, or you're engaging in the deity worship, in the hearing. So there are so many ways you are engaging your senses in this deity worship. And here we have to learn the language Sanskrit, and we have to study the Upanishads and all that to understand this universal. Whereas here we need to only simply chant Hare Krishna and take the guidance from the spiritual master by offering obeisances unto duty, hearing glories of the Lord, eating remnants of the footsteps. And for these people, they have to take a long time. It takes practice, because you have to control your senses, right? And you have to study the Upanishads and so many Vedic scriptures. And you are not having any relationship terms, and it all depends on your own endeavor. Here, it's not like that. You're engaging yourself, and you're under the guidance of a spiritual master, and you're always thinking of the Lord. So he will, you're having a relationship with the Lord through the deity form. So he will deliver devotees from Maya, because himself recommends the process. And without qualities, actually, we have form and qualities possessed in all pervading, cannot perceive any opulence because of lack of activity. Success is guaranteed here, but here it's a risk of falling down. Okay, you might realize the Sat and knowledge aspect, but you may not come to the full thing. Here we'll get all the realization. So this is what is. So that is the impulsive form is worship is difficult and it's a risk. Finally, Krishna says, Etu sarvani karmani mayi sannyasam matparaha anyan naiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasati. Tesham aham samudatta, that is the sagara of the thing, Vityu samsara sagarat, bhavami na chirat patha, maya aveshita chetasa. So one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, being devoted to me without deviation, that is ananya bhakti, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, what happens? I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. See, you can know the swimming and all that, and you think, but still, it's very difficult to cross the ocean on your own. But if someone comes and picks you up, then it's easy, to come out of the ocean. So here Krishna says, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So all we have to do is to do the devotional service to him, and that will help us to fix his mind upon him. Then we can come out of this birth and death cycle. So this is the thing. So after telling all that, then he's going to tell you about the different stages. From 8 to 12, he talks about the progressive stages of devotion from the highest level to the lowest level. Okay. What is the first one? Ayya eva mana adasva mayi buddhim niveshaya. That is, just fix your mind upon me, personal God, and engage all your intelligence in me. That is buddhim niveshaya. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Nevashishasi maya eva ata udvam na samshaya. This is ananya bhakti. That is your pure. You're all the time for you. Besides Krishna, there's nothing else. It's only Krishna, and that's what you have. And so you're fixing your mind on me and engage all your intelligence in me. You'll always live with me without a doubt. That is the highest level of the Mahatmas. You will live in the pure devotees. That's a pure devotional service. Okay. Now, if you can't do that, okay, perform devotion by thinking exclusively of Krishna. Fix mind upon me, engage all your anything. And what is the benefit? You will always live in me without a doubt. Okay, now comes to the next level, next stage. That is the highest stage we need to reach, right? Comes to the second. Ata chittam samadattam na saknoshi mayyi sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. My dear Arjuna, winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of bhakti yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain to me. So finally, he says, do sadhana bhakti. That is, okay, you can't think, at least you can't fix your mind without deviation. Follow the regulative principles given by the acharyas. Like we said, 4 regulative principles. That is what Prabhupada has given. And then he asked us to chant Hare Krishna Bhava, okay, and do devotional service. He says, all the regulative principles, whatever the acharyas say, you follow that. And that way you slowly will develop a desire to come to me. That means we'll slowly try to go back to him. Okay? This is sadhana. So if you can't, slowly you will reach the perfection level. But now we are all in this stage of nothing. So at least we should start our sadhana. That is, follow the teachings of a Prabhupada. So if one cannot perform devotional, so that is pure one, follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga and you will develop a desire. So those who have not developed attachment for Krishna, what is to be done? We have to attach the stream of pure love, practice devotional service with the present senses. Starting and chanting Hare Krishna mantra will help us to cleanse our whatever the things we have in our anarthas in our mind and our heart, that comes out. Okay, slowly we come out of our misgivings, right? So practice devotional service with present senses. And how to follow regulations of devotional service? Take the guidance of a guru. And is there any qualification? There is no qualification. Anyone can do that. And it's a guarantee of success? Yes. There is a surety of going back to the Godhead. That's what here we clearly say. Follow the regulations, follow the sadhana bhakti. Okay. You can't do sadhana bhakti? At least do nishkama karma yoga. What is that? We saw in chapter 11. That is nishkama karma yoga means offer the results to the Lord. Abhyasa api asamakto. That means you can't practice the regular. You don't like to be within the discipline and you don't want to follow the guru, then mad karma paramo bhava, mad artham api karmani, kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. You cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga. At least try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So Krishna understands that people are still in the bodily platform. They can't come out of it. So he's giving us he understands, and that's why he's giving us these stages, right? That is okay. You can't follow the regulation principles and all that. You don't want to be within somebody's thing. At least you try to work for me. That is, by working for me, you will come to the perfect. That means you help some people who are doing the temple construction or book distribution to do that. Work for me. Nishkama Karma Yoga. So what did we see? In the verse 8, perform devotional service or follow the regulative principles of Dharma. Otherwise, work for Krishna. How do you perform work for Krishna? Be sympathetic to people who are propagation of Krishna consciousness movement. You can help them in their temple, like needs, land, capital, organization, any other things, right? Can help build a temple, help in publication. So sacrifice the results of your activities. At least give the percentage of your income. So this is a Nishkama Karma Yoga. So now we saw all the 3 level stages. Now Krishna is saying, okay, this comes to one more level, one more lower level. What is that? If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness, then try to give up, try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-sufficient. And kartum mad yogam ashritya sarva karma phala tyagam tata guru ayat. That means you give up your results. If not, if you can't give the results to the Lord, at least you can spread it to like schools, temples, hospitals, and that kind of thing. So you will be in the act of giving. You are not being selfish. You are trying to give up something of what you have earned. So you are in that attitude. No? That attitude develops, and slowly you will come up the self-sufficient. So that is one. Versus devotional service, not sadhana bhakti. Otherwise, work for Krishna. This is. You cannot do that. These are all people who are doing work for Krishna. But here, try to give up all your results of your work and be self-sufficient. Why one may be unable to sympathize for Krishna consciousness acts can be social, familiarly religious constrictions, or any other. Something happens, like your social restrictions are there, impediments are there, you cannot work for Krishna consciousness movement. Then he says you do for charity. Sacrifice the accumulated results for some good cause. So you'll be in the mode of goodness. You'll be in the mode of sattva guna, and you will be giving it, you'll be in the act of giving it. You're not holding all your results. Okay. And one may gradually elevate to the state of knowledge. Social service, community service, national service may be accepted. Charity hospitals, social institutes, such sacrifice of ardent results, purify the mind, and then you can gradually understand the Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand. So Krishna says, if you can't do this, at least do that. If you can't do that, at least do work for Krishna. If you can't do that, at least give something to charity. But here, you're not thinking of the Lord. You're only thinking of yourself and how to be here. But in these 3 activities, you're always in conscious of the Lord. Okay, if you cannot take to this practice also, you cannot do the charity, then at least engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. So at least you start reading the scriptures, you start thinking, at least try to cultivate the knowledge. Then better than knowledge, however, is meditation, of course, jnana. And better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. Actually, renouncing the fruits of action is what it will slowly will come out of the karma bandhana. Okay, dhyanat karma pala tyaga, tyagas chantir anantara. So these are the different level stages of devotional service. And these, the last 2 which we are talking about, can attain, you will only attain peace of mind. But once you're in peace of mind only, you can slowly think about the spiritual matters. Okay, so at least you come to this peace of mind. So this is what we saw. There's a different stage, progressive. No, this is the highest level. Doing the makes fixed on Krishna. Intelligence fixed on Krishna is the highest level. Okay. Otherwise, do follow the regulative principles of sadhana. That way, here you're fully attached to the Lord. Here, slowly you follow the regulative principles given by Acharya and do the sadhana bhakti, and slowly you will gradually go up. Then, if you don't want to be restricted by the regulative principles and all that, at least work for Krishna consciousness. People, movement, you can at least do that. You can engage in that. Then give up the results of your work. Charity. Cultivation of knowledge. Result of knowledge, one understands the realist position. Then you can develop to meditation. You can slowly understand Supreme Personality of Godhead. Renouncing fruits is better than knowledge and mention. So although karma yoga is the lowest on the yoga ladder, Krishna says it's better than meditation because it's more practical. See, that is what it says. It's more practical. And it does not disturb the mind with harsh and impractical requirements for renunciation. So, taking a meditation process is quite tough, and also knowledge thing. Trying to gain knowledge also will be tough. So, instead, if you take to Nishkama Karma Yoga, start giving up the results, then that will give you peace of mind, and slowly you can understand this knowledge. So this is a different from the highest to the lowest. Krishna is explaining. So it's like merciful. He knows. Otherwise, why should he give us all the things? He could have just stopped at the top level and said, just do that and give up. No, he's telling Arjuna, yes, it's difficult. I understand, because we are not that easy to focus. Okay, if you can't focus on your mind on me, at least you do the sadhana part. Take the help of a guru. Take the help of the devotees. Go with the association of devotees, associate, sadhu, sangha, shastra. So at least take that. If you can't do that, at least you work for me. With the help the Krishna conscious movement. Then he says, give up. For that, at least give up the results of your work. That way you won't be selfish. You will be helping other help. But you'll be in the mode of goodness and you'll be happy. But you'll have to rise above. But that is also another stage. Then can develop by knowledge, then meditation and things. But the other thing is more practical is to giving up your results. Okay. So progressive stage, we saw topmost is the direct, and then it comes to the thing. So this is the lower stage, and these are the indirect. Here, at least we're trying to have a relationship with the Lord, right? Here, these are all indirect methods. Then, now talks about the devotees that enter through Krishna. So, we saw all that. Then you must wonder how such kind of people, devotees would be. What is that quality which these devotees cultivate, and that attracts Krishna? Okay. So one was not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities. That's what he says. Every time he says, they are compassionate. Because they do not think himself a proprietor of this Lord. They know everything belongs to the Lord. And they don't have this false ego. And because they are not attached to their body, they know they are fixed in that thing. And for them, as it is happiness or distress, they are samadharma. They are not they're tolerant, always satisfied, self-control. They're engaged. What they do with the activities are engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and fixed is fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So these were the Goswamis who gave up everything for the Lord, for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and their instruction was to write about devotional service. So they were in Vrindavan and trying to restrict all the temples, and they were focused on that. So that is what they take all the service sufferings as Krishna's kindness to avoid reaction. They are non-envious, they are kind even to their enemy. And they are satisfied. Whatever comes by Lord's grace does not over-endure to achieve something. Okay? And they don't know, there's no prasa because everything belongs to Krishna. So they don't give importance to the pains and troubles for the body. They are equipoised in happiness and distress. Never disturbed by any circumstances. Okay. This is the qualities. And what is the thought process of the devotee in a distressful condition? What do they think? They think that it is the Lord's mercy upon him. And how is it mercy? Because of past days, I should have suffered far, far greater than I'm suffering now. Actually, the suffering has been reduced because of Lord's mercy. And I'm not getting all the punishment I'm due. I'm just getting a little. This person is acting as my enemy because of my past mistakes. So it's better to suffer than to protest. So this is how their thought processes. And what is the result of thinking like that? They're always calm. So they are not disturbed, because they are calm with whatever they have. So they are patient despite many distressful conditions. And they are not envious of anyone or disturbed by their behavior or become his enemy's enemy. So that because of that, this is their thought process. So this is how they are calm and quiet and they're able to be equipoised. So Krishna says they become eligible for liberation. And then one more continues to say, he for whom no one is put into difficulty, who is not disturbed by anxiety, who study in happiness and distress is very dear to me. So this is what Krishna says. They are not affected by the others. Because this is how Prahlad Maharaj was there. There were so many things were put in. He was put into the fire, he was thrown into the ocean, everything, but he was not affected. Whatever his father did, he never had a grudge on his father. He never thought why his father is disturbing him. No, his mind was all fixed on Narayana. Because he is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness. Material circumstance cannot disturb and hurt him, not disturbed by anyone. Such a stage is attained by Lord's grace. And he won't put others into anxiety or difficulty. Such a devotee is kind to everyone. Because in spite of that, when he was in Gurukul, he was asking his others, friends to take to Krishna consciousness. This is how he was, Prahlad Maharaj. He never caused distress to others, even to his father was like that. So he is not dependent on ordinary course of activities, who is pure expert. So this is, you might think, is it so difficult? Is such a person can exist? Yeah, it was there. We could see all these qualities in our Prabhupada, who does not strive for some result is very dear to us. Okay. Then, na shauchati, na kamshati. So he neither laments nor desires. It announces both auspicious and inauspicious things is very dear to me. So this is how they are unaffected by material emotions. So if they lose something, they are not happy. If they get something more, they are not overjoyed, anything. They are calm in both the things. Okay. All kinds of things. And prepared to accept all kinds of risk for the Lord's satisfaction. This is how nothing is an impediment in the discharge of the most essential quality from which all other qualities are. So this is what they are unaffected by the material emotions. So this is how even Ambarish Maharaj was there. He is equal to friends and enemies. Dhruv Maharaj was trying to harm him, but he was never disturbed by that. He thought he might have done some mistakes in his previous birth. That's why he's going through it. But he never had any harsh words to the Durvas Muni or anybody else. Okay? And to be equipoised in honor and dishonor is very difficult. Heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and thing is always free from contamination. Always silent means they are their austerity of speech. They are always silent. Only if they talk, it will be on Krishna consciousness. But they will not retaliate like that. And they are satisfied with anything because this is what they are always, mind is fixed on the Lord. So we see so many qualities, so good qualities, right? They are affected by material emotions, equal to friends and enemies, equipoised in dualities, always free from contaminate, association, does not care for any reason. They are happy to be in any place. Like Goswamis, they used to live under the tree. Okay, they used to have such wealth, but they gave up everything and they was living under the tree, each day one tree. They speak only of essentials, and they speak only of Supreme Lord. So happy in all conditions. Sometimes they get palatable, sometimes not, but they are fixed in determination and they always engaged in. So these are the good qualifications. So we can recognize the devotee if we can develop all these things. But if they don't have such qualifications, that means he's not a devotee. If doesn't have such good qualifications, one does not extremely endeavor to acquire because engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotion automatically helps one develop. So it's not that you have to do it, put some efforts to develop these qualities, because once you start practicing Krishna consciousness, start doing devotional service, slowly all these qualities come into you. The said in Bhagavatam also. So one who is not a devotee has no good qualifications. So these are the things. Finally, Krishna says these are Dasha Lakshan and are not independent of bhakti. They automatically result from surrender to Krishna. That is the Swarupa Lakshan, essential. Most essential is the thing which all qualities appear. So we saw attitude towards oneself. How is he? He doesn't have the sense of proprietorship because he knows everything belongs to the Lord and he is not a body and is free. He is nothing, free from all endeavors. Dealing with other entities, is kind to them and is equal to friends and enemies and always free from contaminating association. He is silent. He will only retaliate when he's read. And reaction when things up to him is equipoised. Neither rejoices, nor grieves, nor laments, nor desires. His only desire is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Okay, that's how he is. And dealings with the Lord is determined. His mind and intelligence fixed entirely on the Lord, engaged in. So this is how the qualities of a devotee which are dear to the Lord. And who follows this imperishable path of devotional service, completely engages in faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear. So, if we want to be dear to the Lord, we have to take up to Krishna consciousness. So, this is what we, if you see about our Prabhupada, he was so dedicated to the cause of his Guru. And that's how he started this Krishna consciousness, isn't it? And he was an authority. He had an authority grasp of Siddhanta. That was there. And he was strong in Shastras and he was strong in his spiritual practice. He was practicing whatever he taught. He was practicing himself. He's very humble and very, very powerful preachers. And he was not scared. He never cut down on the regulative principles, nor on the philosophical teachings. He was very direct and he didn't come down on that. He was a powerful preacher. He was humble and gentle and peaceful, but not very active. Active thing. Actually, the people who are humble or gentle and peaceful are not active, but he was active. Active preachers, but none nearly so accomplished as Prabhupada. How he was able to do that. Scholarly and successful preachers become affected by pride, but we never saw a tinge of pride in Prabhupada. Devotees are good managers, but none so expert as Sri. So he was a good man because he had all that knowledge of being a businessman earlier, as a grahastha. He was managing a business and things. So when he could easily set up this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. and make a governing council. And then he told them what they have to do and all that. So he was able to manage the whole, to manage going around the world, doing his writing about his, the books, translation of the books. Then he was also preaching and he was also cooking and many things gave them. And he was doing all that 24 hours. I think he hardly slept for 2 or 3 hours. Every minute of time was spent on Krishna consciousness. So devotees were expert in 1 or 2 areas of things, and the others were competent in many areas. So here we see Srila Prabhupada, he was expert in all the departments. He was preaching, writing, managing, kirtan, cooking, deity worship, and so on. So despite out achieving everybody, Srila Prabhupada remained humble. That is the conclusive truth. So whatever Krishna talked about it, the dear qualities, he was dear to him. You could see those qualities in Srila Prabhupada. And it's not something only in theory or no such kind of person can live. Even now, we could see such a person existed. We are not very far. He was there with us 50 years ago. So he was there with us, right? So all these qualities, that comes automatically one who takes to devotional service to the Lord. That's what here in Srimad Bhagavatam says. If you make Krishna as the goal of life, then follow the path of devotional service. You make him as the supreme. Then engage yourself with faith. Then automatically all these qualities can develop. Okay. It's decided through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotion. Otherwise, how do we attach to the devotional service? Unless we associate with other devotees. Okay. And then you have to accept a master. And from him, you have to begin to hear and chant and observe the regulatory principles. Then you can engage in the transcendental service. And it is very, very clear here from all this what we have been learning that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization. If you want to attain Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have to take the devotional service. And we have the devotional service. There are different services, no? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So at least we can focus on Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Okay. The impersonal conception of Supreme is described in this chapter is recommended only up to the time one surrenders for self. Otherwise, Islam does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee. So it may be beneficial, but works without fruit result, meditates, encourages to understand. So this is what Prabhupada writes in the purport. So devotional service is the only way for self-realization and nothing else. So it's very short chapter and it's very crisp and clear. And it tells us what we have to do and what are he is understanding there are different stages, people have to come, but it gives us clear indication how to take up to devotional and how we can cultivate these qualities, how these qualities we can focus and they come automatically one who takes up devotional service. Okay. And we could see that even in Srila Prabhupada. Mancha kalpatra abhyascha kripa sindhevacha patitam na pavnevo vaishnavo namo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare. So I just, because it's a short and I didn't want to just flow, I thought get the message across straight away. So if